Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. But let's go back in time a little bit. This is my top picks for the month of December. Stay tuned. Keep reading. Hi, Terri Gillespie here, and welcome to my top picks for the month of December. But it really is January 2025. So I'm still playing catch up since our move to Illinois, but I hope you still love me. And I have some great books. So let's get started, yeah? Okay, so our lead book is Legacy of Hope. And this is actually nonfiction. You know that normally I do novels, but this book is so timely and so important, and it was written and co-written by people that I love and respect very much. And if this looks familiar, last January I did feature this book as well. So this book is Legacy of Hope, Hidden Heroes from Generation to Generation. And it's written by Rabbi Avi Mizrachi, and it was co-written with Kathi Macias, award-winning author, Kathi Macias. So Avi, I've known Avi and his family I guess about 15, 20 years. So Avi was born and raised in a Jewish family in Jaffa, Tel Aviv, Israel. He served in the Israeli Air Force and did his reserve duties in the Israeli Defense Force. Avi is the founder and leader of Dugit Outreach Ministries. Dugit means little boat, or like a dinghy. He still resides in Israel today with his wife Chaya, his daughters, and grandchildren. And then, of course, Kathi Macias is the best-selling author of almost 60 books. It's probably more than that by now. She lives in Southern California with her husband, Al. Now, I had the really wonderful opportunity this past summer. Avi and his wife Chaya and one of his daughters, Devora, who was instrumental in getting this book researched and published. And I'll give you a little insider. They had actually contacted me to help them write it, but the book was so important, and I just didn't think I had the chops to do something like this. So I had recommended Kathi Macias to help them with that. And it was the best decision I made, even though I really wanted to do it. So I've had a real heart investment in this book because it is a book that is filled with miracles, exhortations, and an important message for us today. So, Legacy of Hope, Hidden Heroes from Generation to Generation tells the story, both historically and personally, of two seldom honored heroes, an Orthodox priest and a humble but highly revered rabbi who courageously and repeatedly risked their lives to save Bulgaria's Jewish population. So, we're in the final, my husband and I are in the final stages of editing this interview, and it is extremely powerful. And what's really cool is Avi has signed one of the books, and we'll be giving that away during my author to author. In fact, you can kind of see. There's a signature. All right. So really this story, this is This is the stuff of movies. In fact, I wonder if Otto Preminger, who was the director of Exodus with Paul Newman and Ava Marie, was it Ava Marie Saint or something like that. Anyway, um, it it's so much like Avi's father's story that my goodness, I can't tell you much more, but we'll talk about it in the interview. Now, with what has happened since October 7th of 2023, it's been a little frustrating because the church has not been as vocal as we all had hoped, Avi included, Devora included. And they speak to that a little bit. But mostly what they do is they spend time talking about the miracles of this Orthodox Jewish rabbi who was the head rabbi of the church in a church. He was the head rabbi of the Jewish synagogues in Sofia. Well, actually, it was all of Bulgaria. He was located in Sofia. And his very, very dear friend, Metropolis Stefan, who was the leader of the Orthodox Church in Bulgaria. And these two men stood together, Jew and Gentile, and there were miracles that happened. It's also the story of Rabbi Daniel Zion's, his testimony of coming to faith in his Messiah. And it's a powerful testimony. So there's just so much. It starts in 1930s and goes all the way up to today. So it's a lot to cover, but it is so powerful. And to be able to have key players in this book was such a blessing. So they made the trip to Rome, Georgia, which is where we were living at the time. And we spent a couple days there just fellowshipping and having a wonderful time, eating, fellowshipping, and learning a lot about what's going on in Israel. So what's cool is there is a glossary of Hebrew terms. That's going to be really helpful. That was kind of my idea. And then let's see. Okay, preface. Part 1, the rabbi in Bulgaria and the war. All right, chapter 1. A friendship with far-reaching effects. I will never forget the look of love and respect on my parents' faces each time they told me of the beloved rabbi who risked his own life to save the Jewish people of Bulgaria. Throughout the years, my parents told me many stories of World War II, as well as the time preceding and immediately following. They praised many, particularly those Bulgarians who shared in saving the nearly 50,000 Jewish people, the entire population of Bulgaria, Jewish population, who lived among them. Yet it was especially when my beloved mother and father spoke of Rabbi Daniel Zion, or Zion, that their eyes sparkled and their faces shone. In addition to all those who worked to protect the Bulgarian Jews during that time, it is Rabbi Daniel Zion and the Metropolitan Stefan that have a special place in my heart. Now, what's really interesting is our rabbi in Georgia. His parents were Holocaust survivors. And they actually remembered hearing about the stories of the miracles that happened in Bulgaria and that the Jewish people that were miraculously saved. And so it was kind of cool to have somebody that I know whose parents were Holocaust survivors and that he heard the stories as a child of this rabbi and this priest who helped to work together to save the Jewish people in Bulgaria. And I mean, many other players involved, and it's part of that story. So down below in the description section, I'll have links to this particular book. But if you want to wait for the interview and enter the giveaway and see if maybe you can win a free copy, you can do that too. But then if you don't, be sure and order it. It's an important book, important. All right, so now we get to novels. This is actually wrong one. Here we go. This is Julie Klassen, A Winter by the Sea. And this is actually book 2 on the Devonshire Shores series. Now, interestingly enough, this is the very first book I've ever read by Julie Klassen. And I mean, I've known about her for years and years and years and years. She was actually an editor for a while. She, and I'd heard all these wonderful things, but somehow just never had an opportunity to read her books. Well, that's changing because I'm going to go back and read some other books of hers. But she writes historical fiction, Regency era, which is around the 1800s in England. And I can tell you that Julie has such an elegant style of writing that it makes you feel like you're there, and that, yeah, I just found myself thinking like I was living in that time period. You know, it just took you there so wonderfully, and plus her storytelling is phenomenal. So if you haven't heard of Julie, let's see here. Here's a little bit about her. With over 1.5 million copies sold, best-selling author Julie Klassen's name is synonymous with Regency fiction in the eyes of her many loyal readers. And now I count myself as one of them. A former editor turned 3-time Christie Award winner, Klassen continues to be at the top of her game, delivering the immersive storytelling, satisfying romance, and intriguing mystery that make her books unforgettable. So this particular book returns to the Devonshire coast with the Summer Sisters, where fiction collides with annals of history, secrets come to light, and a new love emerges in A Winter by the Sea. All right, so let's see. Here's a very brief summary. Royalty comes to Sidmouth, bringing unexpected danger and the sweet possibility of romance. When the Duke and Duchess of Kent and their daughter, the future Queen Victoria, rent neighboring Woolbrook Cottage for the winter, the Summer Sisters are called upon to host 3 of the royal family's male staff in their seaside house. But they soon realize they've invited secrets and intrigue into their home. Meanwhile, Emily Summers longs to become an author. A local publisher offers to consider her novel if she will first write a Sidmouth guidebook for him. Emily agrees and begins researching the area with the help of the Duke of Kent's handsome private secretary. But a surprise visitor from her past shows up at Seaview, leaving Emily torn between the desires she's long held dear and her budding dreams of the future. All right, let's read the first paragraph. And always, I love when they have maps. I mean, it's not that big of a town, but it really does help to give you a sense of place. All right, chapter 1. And she always has some little quote from authors of that period, so it's kind of cool. Many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills. That's cool. October 1819. If a quill pen was truly more powerful than a rapier, as Shakespeare suggested, then a pen must also be more powerful than a needle. This book actually came out in December of 2023, and then this book came out this past December 2024, and this is the third book in the Devonshire Shore series, The Seaside Homecoming by Julie Klassen. All right, so here's a little bit about the book. Surprise homecoming tests the bonds of sisterhood as a hidden past comes to light. Disgraced eldest sister Claire Summers has been living in exile as a companion to a stern great aunt in Scotland. About to lose her place and longing to be reconciled with her estranged family, Claire sees an advertisement from someone looking for a respectable female partner in a Sidmouth boarding house. Is it a sign? She answers the ad, hoping she has not made another reckless mistake, which caused her to be disowned by her family. When she meets a handsome, secretive proprietor, she wonders what he's hiding and if he's any more trustworthy than the nobleman who betrayed her years ago. Claire is drawn to him even though she fears he will reject her when he discovers her genteel facade hides a less than respectable past. It's pretty bold, actually, this storyline. It's very cool. Faith journey, forgiveness, reconciliation, romance, very swoony romance. Chapter 1. The rain depresses. My lady has been bored to death in the clutch of giant despair. Charles Dickens, Bleak House. May 1820. Bleak. The weather, her mood, her life. Miss Claire Summers pulled back the dusty velvet curtain and looked out onto another dreary Edinburgh day. Rain pelted the cobbled streets 2 floors down, where a few merchant carts and hackney carriages passed with a clip-clop of hooves. Their drivers' hats pulled low, and even the horses' heads bowed against the rain. The wet pavement was devoid of pedestrians, except for a butcher's lad who jogged past with a bundled delivery. Ooh. Feel that? You just feel the sense of place. Oh, Gabrielle Meyer. Oh my goodness. Across the ages. I remember I interviewed Gabe, I guess a year or two ago, and I'll go ahead and put the link down below in the description section. But she was supposed to have like a 3-book series, but they became so popular. This is book, what is it? Book 4, and she has several more under contract. But what's so cool is it's kind of historical, speculative, fantasy. It's just this really unique genre. And oh my gosh, you'll love it. So this is the Timeless series, and this is book 4. And Gabrielle, I was going to wear the earrings she made me. Okay, so featuring a time travel premise like no other, ECPA best-selling author Gabrielle Meyer's Timeless series has proven her astounding ability to breathe life into the past, blending real history with fantastical intrigue. With the ability to live in multiple eras at once, Meyer's characters have captured hearts while navigating danger, romance, and impossible choices. Now on her 4th highly anticipated installment, Meyer crafts another page-turner to savor in Across the Ages. So, book is so good. You learn so much. She is so dedicated to taking historical facts that probably most of us didn't even know about, and yet it's not dry, the dry, brittle pages of history. It is alive, and people's stories and life and faith journeys and redemption and romance. It's just, and this, I have to say, I think this 4th book is my favorite so far. And I said that with the last book, but by golly, I think this one is my favorite so far. So I'll probably say it with the next one coming up, which I can't wait. Okay, so the main character, our time traveler. So what essentially happens is the character who's a time traveler, she will go to sleep in one era and wake up in another. So she's literally living in 2 different timelines, each day. So it's like she lives 2 lifetimes. Fascinating. Okay. So Carolyn holds a deep secret, living in 1727 and 1927. Simultaneously, each night she goes to sleep in one life and wakes up in another in search of answers to her unique existence. Caroline stumbles upon a letter from her mother hinting at her own experiences as a time crosser, sending Carolyn on a daring quest to uncover the truth. In 1727, Carolyn disguises herself as a cabin boy and joins a ship sailing for the Bahamas, her mother's last known location, where she crosses paths with a ruthless but handsome pirate and is caught in a web of secrets, deception, and unexpected alliances. Now, in the 1927 timeline, Carolyn grapples with her other life as the daughter of a renowned preacher. Her 2 older brothers have fallen prey to the corruption rampant during Prohibition, and Carolyn struggles to keep their involvement hidden to save her father's career. As her research for answers about her time crossing leads to the dangerous yet exciting world of speakeasies, Carolyn enlists the help of a childhood friend who is now a police officer. But with her family's future at risk and their loyalties tested, Caroline faces a life-altering decision that could reshape her destiny. So it's interesting. She's got pirates in one timeline and gangsters in the other. So very exciting. Okay, Chapter 1, May 21st, 1727. Middleburg Plantation, Hugger, South Carolina. My bare toes dug into the hard-packed earth as I beat the rug on the back line, watching the dust melt away into the setting sunlight. It moved through the drooping Spanish moss on the ancient oak trees overhead, making me long for my troubles to fade away so easily. My arms burned from my task, and yet the anxious thoughts did not disappear, nor did the work calm my fearful heart. Ah, you're going to love it. If you haven't read it before, it's okay to start with this book. They still work as standalones, but I highly recommend getting the other books and reading them because she'll pull other characters from some of the other books. So it's really cool. It's like they have guest appearances. Okay, Suzanne Woods Fisher. Love Suzanne. I interviewed her, I guess it was last year, but I'll have the link down below in the description section. And she's a sweetie pie. Fun, really fun. Now, this book, A Year of Flowers, some of you may have read her novellas this past year. There were 3 of them that were associated with this book. And this one takes those 3 novellas and then adds another chapter that kind of ties all the stories together, which is really cool. Now, if you don't know Suzanne, here's a little bit about her. Suzanne Woods Fisher is the award-winning best-selling author of more than 30 books, including The Sweet Life and The Secrets to Happiness, as well as many beloved contemporary romance and the Amish romance series. She is also the author of several nonfiction books about the Amish, including Amish Peace and Amish Proverbs. She lives in California. Okay, so 3 former friends have found success at work, but love remains elusive. So these are 3 friends that they were good friends. They were hired by a woman named Rose, and they were students. Actually, they may have been graduated from high school, but something happens and it destroys their friendships, their relationship with Rose, and her florist shop, beautiful florist shop. So we come upon these characters, and they have been given a letter from Rose challenging them. So what's really cool about this is that you learn a lot about the artistry of floral design. And I mean, I learned a lot. Like, I feel like I could put together a bouquet, maybe. And then also learning about what it takes to grow these flowers. What's interesting is my husband's father was a botanist, and he raised orchids. And so his orchids were, he actually oversaw the orchids at the Missouri Botanical Gardens. So it takes a very special person to be able to raise flowers that can be used in bouquets. So it was just really fascinating information. So here's chapter 1, and this starts with Jamie. And she always has these little quotes too that begin each chapter. You're only here for a short visit. Don't hurry, don't worry, and be sure to smell the flowers along the way. Walter Hagen. Jamie Harper stepped back to examine the bridal bouquet she created for the Zimmerman Blau wedding. She had to get this bouquet right today. Did it seem balanced? Was anything sticking out? A bridal bouquet was the most photographed floral piece of an entire wedding. Nail it down, and everything else will fall into place. Oh my goodness. Cornered. What happens when you take three best-selling, award-winning suspense writers and put them together in one book. Three novellas that are all standalone stories, yet each one of those stories relates to other books that they've written. And it's so cool. These are like three of my favorites. We have Lynette Eason, whom I interviewed, Lynn H. Blackburn, and Natalie Walters, whom I interviewed. And Natalie is such a hoot. If you're on Instagram, you have to follow her because she'll do these reels and they're hysterical because she actually had pretended to hide a body in a closet, and her husband really helps her out with these videos, and they're just great. I love Natalie. Okay, so here's, if you've not heard about them, here's some information. Lynette Eason is the USA Today best-selling and award-winning author of Target Acquired and several romantic suspense series. She's also a literary agent now. Lynn Blackburn is the award-winning author of Never Fall Again, as well as the Defend and Protect series. And Natalie Walters is the award-winning author of the Snap Agency series and the Harbored Secret series. Prepare for 3 times the thrills with these nail-biting page-turners from your favorite romantic suspense authors. And let's see, here's a little bit about Lynette's novella. In the dark, accountant Steph Cross is cleaning out a co-worker's desk after her untimely death when she finds cryptic notes that lead her to believe her friend's car accident was no accident at all. Detective Tate Cooper is determined to help her crack the case before someone else gets hurt. But can he protect the woman who has so quickly laid claim to his heart? In Downfall by Lynn H. Blackburn, chef Casey Quinn gets an offer she can't refuse to fill in as chef at an expensive mountain resort. But when the kitchen is destroyed and it becomes clear Casey is in danger, she's forced to accept the help of her ex-boyfriend, Officer Donovan Bledsoe, to find the culprit and keep her safe. Now, in Perilous Obsession by Natalie Walters, teacher Lahia Young becomes the target of someone with a twisted obsession for righting a wrong. One of the first people she turns to is her good friend Briggs Turner. Briggs may have left his career as a police officer, but he still has the instinct to protect, especially for Lahia. Yeah, she's the sister of one of my favorite characters in the Snap series. All right. So I'll read the, you know what? I'm going to read the first sentence of each one of the novellas. Let's see. All right. Chapter 1 of In the Dark by Lynette Eason. The September sun had barely risen over the mountain town of Lake City, North Carolina, casting a warm golden glow that filtered through Stephanie Cross's kitchen window. The calm before the storm. All right, the second novella, Downfall by Lynn H. Blackburn. Chapter 1, first line. Casey Quinn dropped her speed as she approached the employee entrance to the Haven. All right. The next. All right. Natalie Walters' novella, Perilous Obsession. Chapter 1. But why would they put a flamingo in jail? Did he lie? You don't go to jail for lying. I lied to my mom about hitting my brother. Am I going to jail? Yes, she's funny too. I mean, she's really funny. So that's the books for this month of December. And I'm sure there'll be some great selections for you. Hopefully, all of them are interesting to you. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a top picks for 2024. And I'm going to try to. I'm so far behind after moving and getting settled in a new house and everything else. Finding doctors. Ugh, can any of you relate? But I highly encourage you to check out the author-to-author interview with Avi's Mizrachi and his daughter, Devorah Boaz. It's so good. Just so good. I cried a lot. You won't see it, but I did cry a lot. Okay. Thank you so much for your support in 2024. It has meant so much to go from 4 years ago with 3 subscribers, all of them family, then going up to 5, family and friends. And now we're up, last time I checked, over 12,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. And I hope to have even more great reads, giveaways, and very interesting authors. So until we meet again, God bless, Happy New Year, and keep reading.